right. So the ore processing door locked. And that does not have an internal release. So we're going to lock out. No, it won't be a lockout tag. Thanks for coming, Lieutenant. Okay, yeah, and you appear to be drunk.
Pete, buddy. I work security at Deep Space Nine. Of course I'm drunk.
And you came to HR at my request, openly drunk, while on duty, if I'm not mistaken.
Peter, do you know what I just got done doing? Writing an incident report for, like, the 6th goddamn kidnapping of a senior officer off this hellscape. Which was interrupted because you needed to talk to me about a personnel report and Odo isn't available. And why was that again?
Yes. And I quote, where's the report? Because Chief Odo turned into a liquid rock monster and tore about the southern end of the promenade and our best science lab.
Again.
Oh, it's been a rough week, hasn't it?
A rough week? My brother in Christ, this death trap of a gas station tried to kill us all last pay period. Did you hear the story that Frank Dawkins had about what it was like in ops?
I haven't talked to Dawkins. What'd he say?
You can't talk to Dawkins because he's dead. Got fucking zapped by a goddamn phased death ball the replicators just shot out. I had to mail his ashes back to his widow.
Oh, you mean Dobbs. Sloppy Joe. But yeah, I still have to file the report on that little gem.
How the hell are you so calm? Riker's weird clone thing just stole our illegal hot rod invisible gunship. We got nonsense from the Enterprise D shenanigans machine giving us flagship level problems, and we are stuck with the reprobates and psychopaths that are intended to run a way station in the ass end of nowhere. How could anyone be so calm?
Because this posting is the most amazing experience I have had in years. And every day is better than the last.
What?
Joe, do you know how boring it is living in a post-scarcity utopia? Nothing ever happens around here. Sure, maybe you have fun if you're on the ship named Enterprise, but otherwise, nada. Everyone follows the rules, and the rules are so fair. They're so reasonable. But here, border town gas station, front of the war coming down, I get to witness true chaos, Joe. Our unhinged commanding officer brawling Gen X super soldiers one-on-one. The bartender running guns for border war Vulcan hotties. Your terrorist first officer that acts like she doesn't know if she wants to fuck you or kill you. God, they're so similar. I haven't felt this alive since I got here. I feel like I'm home again, Joe.
I guess you fit right in. But where's home if it's like this?
One of those wild, like season 1 failed colonies.
Oh, damn, really?
Yeah. Really.
Usually I am the host of the show, Joseph, but I'm going to tear off my sideburns and reveal that I am, in fact, evil Joseph here on V'ger Please, a vile visit to Bajor. My name is Joseph.
You can do whatever you want, Joseph. Just do not go in the basement. There's nothing down there, and if you do go down there, you're going to die. I'm your co-host, Peter.
So, Peter...
I may or may not be Obsidian Order. I'm sure he's still out.
Peter, there's been a lot of anticipation amongst our people about the episode we're going to review this week. So why don't we intro that first, and then we can have quite a discussion about what you did or didn't know. What did we watch?
Deep Space Nine, Season 3, Episode 9, first aired November 21st, 1994. Written by, this is going to shock you because there's no Klingons anywhere to be found. Ronald D. Moore, directed by Cliff Bowl, in universe date 2371.
And the episode's name is Defiant, which I guess is kind of underselling the premise because, I mean, it has to do with the Defiant, I guess. That is true. But it's certainly not what you would call the key reason people really like this episode or are interested in your reaction to it. This is, of course, the grand return of one Thomas Riker, something that you made comment of so many times over the course of us reviewing Star Trek that there has been a running conversation in the part of our Discord where you don't go, where we talk about Deep Space Nine in total and what your reactions to things will be. Up to and including the fact that people would record moments where you brought up Thomas Riker and I would verbally have a clear verbal stop so I don't try and spoil anything through any kind of indication. And so I have a critical question that everyone is wanting to know and that I have not tried to ask because I didn't want to reveal anything. Did you know that Thomas Riker was going to be in Deep Space Nine?
Yeah.
That's too bad.
I knew it was coming at some point because I want to say there was a Decipher, like a collectible card game.
Oh, you saw like a Decipher card for it.
Something that like alluded to that. What was the first episode where Thomas Riker was introduced?
Well, fortunately, there's Arc Thomas Riker 2 of 2.
Yeah, I'm in here.
So Second Chances was the episode. It was one LeVar Burton directed.
Okay.
Season 6, end of season 6.
Second Chances, written by Mike Medlock, teleplay by Rena. All right, so no Ron Moore in here at all.
I mean, Ron Moore was show running.
Yeah, but it's not like he was directly, like this was his baby.
Right.
This is a great episode.
Absolutely.
And
but you knew, huh? So did you know the moment he showed up, like, this must be Thomas Riker?
Yeah, because the full you're not just going to have the one-off guys. Like it's always felt to me like you're getting everybody, you're getting nobody in terms of main crew. Like, so him being in Solo, I felt like there was a good giveaway there. Great episode, not only because you're using a very fun TNG character, but, I think the real star of this is the Central Command versus Obsidian Order.
Yeah. There's a lot going on in this episode plot-wise that's extremely important for the future of the show, which it has nothing to do with the big tease here at the beginning, right? Like the reason why they got people to watch this. I don't know. I'm going to try to find the right way to put it. The key plot elements of this episode that you really have to pay attention to and that reverberate for the rest of the run of the show has really nothing to do with Thomas Riker. Thomas Riker is just kind of like a sideshow to that plot. The fact that he's here, I think, is a virtue of several beneficial coincidences. As we noted last week, Frakes was directing Deep Space Nine. He was directing Meridian. Evidently, they shot this at the same time that he was doing some of that directorial work. So there was a scheduling kind of coherence there that allowed him to make his guest appearance right after.
Real bang for your buck.
Yeah, you got to use all of the Frakes. It's like all of the Buffalo. You got to use all the Frakes when you get your hands on them. They had the idea of using Thomas Riker in Deep Space Nine for a while. They felt it would be like an interesting character to utilize as another recurring character on the show. So they're good at this. They have a huge number of them. I have to tell you one thing though, and that is Ira Stephen Barrett had second thoughts about using Thomas Riker as a consistent character, and you don't see him again. And this is probably considered his biggest L, is that he specifically chose not to pursue a Thomas Riker storyline. Felt like he had too much going on as it was, and he'd have to like find ways to work it in with Frakes' schedule in ways that might not necessarily make sense to the plot, and ultimately decided not to pursue any storylines as it relates to him moving forward, which was not the case when they wrote it, obviously, based on
Clearly.
how it ends. But something they arrived at kind of after it was out. And this episode came out a couple days after Generations came out. So there was a lot of marketing synergy there. This takes place in continuity right before Generations occurs. So technically the Enterprise D still exists. And then by next episode, it does not.
R.I.P. Lursulin Bator.
Yes. Larissa Bator, who had a great Deep Space Nine appearance.
Mm-hmm.
They bite the bullet. And so
Damn.
this all came together in 1994 as a kind of a happy accident. You were able to get Frakes on the show right at the same time, like Generations was doing quite well at the box office, and boost the attention on Deep Space Nine itself. It's a really good episode. They pay off a TNG continuity in a really interesting and consistent way, and then they kind of just leave it there, which I find to be an unfortunate choice.
Very interesting to hear that this was right on top of Generations, which means this is right on top of All Good Things, as all this was kind of basically happening at the same time. Very busy for Frakes. I wonder, what did you think of the portrayal of Riker in this?
Fascinating in that you can tell the difference by how soft he feels. Like when he's having that conversation with Cisco after the teaser in his office, the way he speaks is much kind of lower and personal, It's like he's having a conversation with somebody rather than the way that he typically is, which is much more, I don't want to call it haughty, but there's something about his command personality that
Yes.
seems to exude through Riker, Commander Riker, quite obviously, that he dialed down here because he's not that guy. He spent 8 years isolated, right? Like he's much more wanting to make personal connections with people. He speaks to them, softer spoken. And I think that is consistently portrayed throughout the entirety of the episode. If that's the key difference between him and the mainline Will Riker.
I want to go blow for blow on this episode because this is the first time I've taken this many notes in a long time. But the Riker performance specifically, I was not happy with. And at the time, it felt to me, because everything Riker in my mind right now is colored by that god-awful last episode of Enterprise. And the Riker from the holodeck episode of Enterprise, where it's, really Riker and Troy watching everything and like...
Yeah, him working out if he was going to confess during Pegasus, yes.
Air jerking off. Like, I think by that point, it was too late, and Frakes kind of forgot how to play Riker or started playing a version of Riker that didn't really fully exist.
Yeah.
This flirty, soft, more like meme-ish Riker. And I felt like that was present here. And it's hard to balance these thoughts because this isn't the Will Riker that we know. And everything you just said like frames that nicely. Will Riker started season 1 with that Playboy vibe. And sure, every now and then you'd see like a little glimmer of like this chaotic fuckboy, right? Mm-hmm. But Will Riker's main story arc through Next Generation was becoming a guy who could command a flagship. And I think that really crystallized with Best of Both Worlds, where he had to make the decision of like, do I kill my boss and my good friend? And past that, you've got a hardened, like you said, a command authority. So watching him through this, especially in the beginning, as he's trying to convince people that he's Will Riker, and he does so effectively, but he leans so heavy into this this flirty, soft guy that it felt jarring to me. And really, I think it's, looking back now, it's just Frakes really understanding the character and being like, how do I play a guy that's the same guy, but not really that guy?
Yeah.
Trying to be that guy.
Similar to that guy, but fundamentally different in a core way. It's a interesting acting challenge. And I really feel like he nailed it. Like, I felt like this was a different person that was also kind of a branch from the original personality. Like, yeah, this does feel like the version of you that was trapped alone, pining after your girlfriend for 8 years, hoping to be rescued someday, getting rescued, being unable to like satisfy that relationship, but still seeking connection, being much more empathetic and warm, and therefore sympathetic towards the plights of the Maquis, and ultimately finding that as a way to satisfy both your desire to usurp that which you believe should have been yours, and find a way to connect to other human beings. I get it.
And also, he's looking at Will as like a sellout, right?
Yeah.
And this is something I want to discuss later. And Thomas Riker is not a bad guy. Thomas Riker may actually be considered a chaotic good guy, whereas the rest of the Enterprise crew is lawful good guys. And to speak to the credit of the excellence of the crew of the flagship, this guy who was not assigned was still the same grade, like good guy, that he ends up doing amazing things, big fucking deal things, because he is not hindered by the obligations and the institutional buy-in that Will Riker is. And a lot of times, like we saw that with Enterprise, like someone would have a hunch, but they couldn't really act on it because you're the flagship and you doing these actions is a declaration of war, right?
Right.
Thomas Riker doesn't have that. He's got flexibility. He can act on gut feelings, and all of that plot, charm, and intelligence is there unchained. So very interesting to use him as this vehicle to drag a Deep Space Nine crew out to the middle of nowhere to discover this conspiracy, instead of it just being nothing but clown bit part Maquis actors who have so far just shit the bed. There hasn't been any Maquis, I think, that we have seen that have been cool out of Deep Space Nine, at least.
The fact that this leads to a plot about intergovernmental chaos within the Cardassian Union as it relates to their CIA secretly building an illegal army is a fascinating choice and well executed on Ron Moore's part. I feel like every single frame of this episode was well done.
Yeah.
Well paced. Nothing was wasted here. There is no B plot, we have.
There's a B plot. And let's just go ahead and start with it. The B plot is Kira needs a break.
It's true. Kira gets roped into this as the primary DS9 character involved because she is stressing out over the fact that Deep Sheets 9, the interstate is open and there's a lot of people rolling in and they're running out of space. They don't have enough fuel.
Just that, right? This is part of a story arc of Deep Sheets 9 needs to be gentrified.
Yeah.
This has gone from being a pile of shit Cardassian death trap garbage posting out on the fringes of space to you're about to be ground zero for the shit. You have the wormhole open, which is already dragging massive amounts of traffic through the area. And now you've got this looming Dominion war. So the Federation is starting to scale up its operations here. We saw back in Civil Defense, they were retrofitting the ore refinement to try and turn it into a deuterium production station. Now this episode, just the throwaway dog. And again, I love Star Trek that you can have so much cool world building happen before the credits. And that's usually where they pack it in. And this, I think, is a really rare episode where the cold opener is extremely lore rich and fulfilling, and the rest of the episode is not trash. Because usually I feel like the pre-credits, if it's going to be a dud episode, they're like, okay, we feel bad about this. Here's a bunch of cool world shit for you nerds. And this one, it's just a 1-2 punch. But this huge ass space station that's been pretty much empty now is hitting a point where they don't have enough storage space.
Yeah, and they've got diplomatic conferences happening here. Like, this Holiday Inn Express has seen some traffic.
Oh, this ain't a Holiday Express, man. This fucking thing's a... God, but if this was if the Enterprise was the Holiday Inn Express, this is like
Motel 6.
Hojo? I don't. What's dangerous? Where can you get cut very easily?
Motel 6.
Mm.
There was
Before
the
they
one
did the retro update. Yeah, the OG Motel 6.
So she is stressed out. She goes to Bashir, who's got a problem because he needs medical supplies so he can open up a field hospital for a colonization of some planet. And she just snaps and is like, I don't care. I don't give a shit about your stupid colonization schedule. It's going to happen when it happens. I'm out of here. And Bashir snaps back into CML mode and says, actually, you've activated my trap card and now you have to follow my commands because I think you're too stressed out to be working right now.
I want to talk about this. We have seen a lot of this trope, which is the doctor tells the captain, you're taking the night off.
Yeah,
right?
Captain's holiday. Famous.
When's the last time you remember having a day off? Well, that tells me that you need a break. I feel like this is such a deeply ingrained norm, or not a norm, but a cultural expectation in the Federation that there is a luxury requirement in Starfleet. And if your luxury level dips below a certain point, that it is stopped. Like, you are very busy and everything you are doing is extremely important. I need these medical supplies. All this crazy shit. I see how important you are and the work you're doing is important, but you're unhappy and your luxury meter has dipped too low. So not only am I going to take you off duty, I'm going to stop everything I'm doing. I'm going to escort you up to the whorehouse casino.
Yes.
I'm going to buy you a drink. I'm going to get you gambling tokens, a holodeck program for God. And that was interesting too. They even she didn't shoot any look up at Quark. Like, you're just trying to get me back in this fucking holosuite again, motherfucker. Now you got the
It was just last week. I know.
Here's a popsicle, or I don't know if that's a popsicle or the Jom sticks are like beef jerky.
Who knows? Dried fruit, maybe.
What else was in there? There was something else.
The crackers.
Oh yeah, crackers
and juice.
And you are going to increase your luxury meter until it is back within Federation tolerances.
Listen, Kira is not a Federation officer, so she is not supplied with the steady drip of Federation antipsychosis medications that are necessary to manage this kind of workload. So Julian has to work with what he has to work with, because he knows, like, the dangers of your luxury level going down is that your psyche shatters into a million pieces.
Well, I mean, that might be part of it, but like, I really do think that there is this Federation Starfleet expectation of what life needs to be out. What are your basic core human expectations?
Yeah, they believe in work-life balance. They do. They really do.
I mean, you look again at the Enterprise, and it's the biggest and the best. And here is this Gene Roddenberry original series. Starfleet's very military, and we are pushing this Western in space, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is it's gritty, and yeah, we might have chess and a bar, but it's not luxury. And now here in the future, we have conquered the frontier, and now we are just improving things and trying to find a little bit of exploration wherever we can. All these holodecks, you look at how many lounges the Galaxy class had, right? The amount of leisurely stuff that's built in, and that's the promise to Earth is, hey, you can join Starfleet and you can go out and encounter space monsters and have these terrible experiences that become a commodity and maybe become famous back on Earth. But like, we're going to push you out in the weird shit, but you're going to be so comfortable and plush and happy while you're doing it. Like, I really feel like this is a manifestation of that. Like, there's this unreasonable line of like, you're working too hard. You need to be pampered.
Well, I mean, that was also Riker's excuse for being there. He said he had too much leave time and Crusher made him leave, right?
Well, I mean, that's just standard HR. Like, use it or lose it. You've accumulated too much PTO.
But it's a trope they used twice in this episode of
right.
Two characters have to take a holiday, and that's why they're meeting up. And, you know, it's a great reveal at the end, is like, Kira has sort of a rueful smile on her face as she makes peace with the fact that, people do care about her. That's why they're telling her to do this. And that's when we suddenly have the dulcet tones of Jonathan Frakes are heard, and the camera pans over, and it's Riker, and he's asking if she's got room for the unexpected. And she's maximum charm radiating from this man. Like, I know we talked about maybe Jake Sisko should take the Alpha Quadrant Playboy of the Year award away from him, but I have now withdrawn that, having been re-exposed to the Riker magic. There's nothing quite like it.
And it's funny too, because when he came out with that, expect the unexpected, at that point, it hadn't dawned, like, I wasn't expecting Riker, right? So it just hit me, like, I was immediately confronted, and in my notes, I'm like, season 7 Riker is not this Playboy. Like,
correct.
Why is he coming out with this foot? And certainly it's a memory that's accessible to Frakes, but like, man, this feels jarring seeing him playing like this. This feels like watching Frakes. What was that fucking TV show where
Beyond Belief?
Like, Beyond Belief. Like, this feels like he's reading off that.
Yeah.
Right?
It's fiction. It didn't happen.
Also, the TNG uniforms on Deep Space Nine. I'm going back again to Enterprise, where we had high def and saw that they don't work, and they do not work here. The amount of reflection that comes off the black across the shoulders. Did you notice, like, the glare?
He looks like a person out of time, and also looks dumpy in it, even though he's actually in it still in a very trim state. Here is Mr. Frakes. I'm not actually suggesting he's not in shape. This isn't a
it's not
Enterprise.
Flattering.
Yeah, it's not flattering. It's not flattering at all. And I'm glad you're coming around to the black jumpsuit.
I'm not coming up. The fucking jumpsuits are terrible. I'm not saying those jumpsuits look any better whatsoever. I'm just saying that on Deep Space Nine, and it makes sense. They're not lit for these uniforms, right?
A couple years from now, you'll have the First Contact uniforms for the rest of the show.
Listen, I've suffered under these goddamn turtlenecks for long enough. I need to be out of these stirruped jumpsuits. So he ends up in Sisko's office. And this is the second time, presumably, that Riker has been to Deep Space Nine, because obviously the Enterprise was here dumping everybody off, right?
Third time, if you count when they showed up for Redemption Part 1. Remember, we did review that for our show. So this is the third time that Riker has potentially been here.
Quite the gamble for Thomas. And he must have done a lot of homework to memorize everybody in the senior crew that he might encounter, and have small talk ready to go for them. I enjoyed thoroughly Sisko divulging that as Riker's like, yeah, man, last time I was here, I cleaned Quark out and I banged all his Dabo girls. And I was like, oh, yes, my son is dating one as well now. And he is quite the Baccarat player or whatever. Like, there is zero pause for Riker to be like, wait, those girls are like 30. What do you...
How old's your son?
Is there weird time dilation here this close to the wormhole, and your son has like hyper age to his 20s? Last time I saw your son, I'm pretty sure
Bajoran law, age of consent is very different here.
Last time I was here, he was like 14, and that was like a year ago.
So yeah, no hesitation. In fact, he finds it amusing. Smooths through the conversation. Sisko is like, oh, what a nice, charming, personable man, unlike his boss, who I hate. And the way he seems to be prepared to maneuver around a conversation with Dax, like he clearly gets a little caught off guard when Dax brings up their prior interaction, but he's able to smooth it over in a way where it seems like, oh, I was pretty wasted or whatever. And then, of course, later on is when he encounters O'Brien, which is the one you're waiting for. Yeah.
What's interesting, too, is Kira clearly smitten with him and keeps looking at the office. Dax calls her out on it. What'd you get into last night? Oh, me and Riker were talking for 3 hours. And it's like, oh, cool. Did you get on that D? No. I'm in a relationship, which I'm presuming is Vedic...
Burial, yes.
Vedic war crimes.
Yes, Vedic war crimes, indeed.
Bold choice, Kira. Like, This guy is 3 hours away, down on the surface of Azeroth, embroiled in religious scandal out the wazoo, targeted by the prophets to get off the pot, a liar to you, although ultimately a good guy, a terrible kisser.
Yes.
And I don't
The
see a
worst.
ring on that finger, right? At best, you are in a fling. And if flings are on the table, how are you going to say no to that? This is the most alien a Bajoran has ever been, where a humanoid is saying no to climbing Mount Riker.
You remember when Riker banged out the alien that was played by the girl from Cheers to avoid a circumstance where he breaks the Prime Directive? Remember that?
I do.
That's a real thing that happened on that show.
So her being in a relationship enough to constitute passing on Will Riker is, I think, a pretty serious relationship, and I can't wait to see where that goes for her. They meet up later while Riker is out and about.
Conveniently exploring the promenade and just happens to run into her.
Mm-hmm. And I love this because it's a con, clearly, and this is all well within the Riker ability tree.
Indeed. These are core skills that were chosen before the transporter accident. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like before the fork in the road where he got the dual spec. You know, like these are the key class features of being a Riker.
If anything, this is better than what Will could do because this guy has many more levels of rogue, clearly. Hey, can I get a tour of the station? Great. Think we might be able to fit the Defiant in? Absolutely. You are the CEO of the flagship. Why would I not take you there?
Yeah, XL,
Great
but
plan.
yeah.
Great. I'm sorry, XL. Great plan. Excellent spackle. How do you give the Maquis the most dangerous ship, illegal black market tech there is? Like, this is exactly how you do it.
Yeah.
This is perfect plot.
The shot where they go to the Defiant, there's so much that I like. First, there's a security guard outside just stationed permanently outside the airlock where it is, which like that makes sense. By the way, that guy is named Lieutenant Jones. I was curious because he was kind of in frame and they gave him a chance to sort of like leer, you know, like gave it an extra second or two
smolder.
to smolder. This dude is the smoldering catcher guy of Deep Space Nine, and we have not appreciated him. He's in 62 episodes of the show. He is the background security muscle basically whenever it's required. So he's been in a ton of episodes already. He was also in 23 episodes of TNG and Generations and First Contact. This man is a background thug for Star Trek for almost the entire run of the Alpha Quadrant pieces. And
If you want to call him Smoldering Catcher, there's a question. Does this guy get clowned? Because real Smoldering Catcher, which was what, Lieutenant
Ayala, yes.
Ayala never took an L. So we're going to have to keep a careful eye on this Jones character and see if he can keep up the street rep that Ayala had.
You know, I don't recall us noticing him taking an L, but at the same time, it's hard to know for sure. You know, we haven't really noticed him, and I really only noticed him now because he was so like he seemed very stern. He was like keeping an eye on both of them. He was really doing his job that day. So it's like he didn't take an L on this. He watched them do the security thing. It worked. He they went on. He watched them go in and resumed his posting. Right.
It was also very important showing that like Thomas Riker is exactly what it would have taken to get onto here. Like being what a great, and that's a fun thing that DS9 does, is they take cool shit that the people at the time didn't really realize they put on the board. And they go, hey, I've been watching this since I'm a kid, and I'm in the shower thinking about this stuff. Like, yeah, this guy's got all of Riker's security clearance. Big shot,
and
Will
his
Riker.
DNA. Yeah, oops.
Exactly. This guy is a 1-for-1 clone. What kind of chaos could this guy get into? Here is this fantastic piece of technology. what wild applications did the original writer never take into consideration when bringing this thing into the universe? What cool story can we tell? Here it is. So they get on, they're doing the tour, and little wrinkle in the plan. There is an extra person that was not accounted for. And wouldn't you know, it's the one person that if anybody on this crew is going to be able to be like, that's not Will Riker. It's this guy, and that is Miles O'Brien.
He just is conveniently not present during all of the other scenes, right? And you wonder, like, is he just going to skate by seeing him, and that's how he deals with the fact that O'Brien would be able to sniff this out? But no, he's got a plan. He obviously had a plan for, like, what happens if I run into Miles O'Brien? How do I deal with not having a conversation with him where it will become evident I am not the person I say it is, and he'll be able to sniff it out? Is I will act like I'm really fucking mad at him for something I'm not going to explain, and because I'm so superior an officer to him, he's going to just leave.
10
Which
out
was
of
the
10
correct
plan. No
Yeah.
notes.
Yeah, just like such a perfectly correct thing to do. Like, I can't fake a conversation with the man. They know each other too well. So I'm just going to aggro so hard at him that he's like, oh fuck, I guess I'm out of here. I wonder what the fuck I did. And he won't think about it until it's too late. Until the plan has been revealed.
Too late pretty quickly here because he gets O'Brien to fuck off. He starts
fiddling
around.
O'Brien's like, oh, Commander Riker. He's like so happy to see him. Like, can you take me back? Like, can I go with you back to the Enterprise? I know it's about to crash under into 3, but that's still better than being here. You can see it in his eyes, and then like, Tom Riker just crushes his hopes and he just leaves sad. No, you're stuck.
The only way I could have improved this episode, I think, because you've got an interesting pairing here. You've got Kira Nerys and you've got O'Brien. And these are our Cardassian murdering Wonder Twins.
It's true.
And I think if you were willing to go with a 2-parter, you could have had O'Brien get dragged along for this debacle. And you could have shaped these two up to be a little bit more mentoring of Will and what goes on here, and they could have done a little bit more damage or really push things a little harder without being outright treason. But I think you
also would have been able to attack the Tom living up to Will's shadow angle more if O'Brien was there to talk about it. And yeah, you would have had to structure it in such a way that like the Maquis team like gets on board. They don't know he's in the engine room or something. They find him and they capture him right away. Or in the initial chaos,
Riker could have just been like, listen, man, I read the reports. I know you were on the Rutledge. I saw what happened to fucking Maxwell, and Maxwell's right.
Yeah, I heard about the trial they tried to put you through, Like,
this is what it all boils down to, is that there are people in Starfleet who see exactly what's going on, and they're being told, no, we can't touch this.
Or he could have lied and said, I have a mission. Miles, can you help me? I can only trust you. That could have been the angle too.
But, this is going back to what I was saying earlier about Thomas having the freedom that Will Riker doesn't. And again, when Thomas should have been involved in these Cardassian border wars, right? If the Stargazer was involved, if the Rutledge was involved.
I think his career spun up kind of as that had already peaked. Because of the time, like the Cardassian wars it wasn't one consistent, as we talked about when we like set up for Deep Space. In that Hasbrat homework episode, we talked about this a lot.
Well, hold on. How old is Will Riker? Because we know that O'Brien is 40.
So he was born in.
We're doing it, guys. We are going to the do not touch box, which is trying to establish a coherent timeline.
Born on 2335. Mm-hmm. This is taking place in 2371. So he is 36 years old. So it's probably he's probably had a Starfleet career for 15 years. So he probably missed the real heat. And that was when O'Brien was younger in his career. So he's just a little bit older.
4 years.
That
Okay.
4 years it matters though. That 4 years is when the fighting was happening.
I think that 4 years still allows for there to be a very heavy sentiment within Starfleet of fuck the Cardassians.
Oh, yeah.
And Riker William being stuck, Thomas being stuck down on Narendra 3 or whatever, missed a lot of the kumbaya, let's, rediscover our non-aggression, alien to modern day humanity, egalitarian standards. So he's coming in not brainwashed or, reconditioned to peace. And I think that's going to make a lot of this Cardassian shit going on really hit raw nerves that never healed. And that was so. What ship did they say he was on before he basically
the Gandhi, which was funny to me that you're on the ship named after a man of peace and he decided to become a terrorist.
But he doesn't have the pressures of being this flagship officer. He doesn't have Jean-Luc Picard there telling him it's not okay to go off and kill people the way he, gave Worf the first degree when he killed Duras. Like, this is what these people are capable of in other circumstances. So, yeah, I think there would have been a really fun story where, like, Kira and O'Brien are kind of like, well, we're stuck here. Might as well kind of make the most out of it. I guess
we better do the thing we're best at along with this guy, I suppose.
I mean, if you're gonna attack a Cardassian colony, maybe we do this one instead, because look at these numbers here, and this is yeah.
So Tommy Riker scares O'Brien away, gets Kira to open up the bridge controls as part of like the patter that he's having in the conversation and wanting to just check out all the cool systems.
What's the swipe unlock on this? Oh, it's this. Cool, thanks. And then boom,
Zat. No,
type 2 out of nowhere. I was really hoping they would have the type 1, but him pulling the Viper out.
Oh yeah,
like, dude, where'd you have this fucking thing?
Was it in your pants and you just everyone thought
Riker?
you were just, it's Will Riker, it's fine.
This dude's walking around hard. Either that's a type 2 in his pants, or this dude's just walking around ham.
So blasts Kira with it on stun, and then fakes a warp core breach to get Dax and Sisko to let the Defiant go. But whoopsie daisy, I lied. We're going to warp. It was all fake.
Yoink.
I just yoinked the Defiant out of Sisko's hands, and he looks very upset.
Mm-hmm. Badlands in 6 hours. We know the Badlands.
We do. So they don't show the conversation that had to take place where Sisko had to tell Starfleet Command, like, I don't know what just happened, but a man who appears to be Will Riker, who the security believes is Will Riker, just stole the Defiant. Can you tell me what's going on? And they have to tell him about the Will Riker, Tom Riker thing. And so it's like, everyone knows it's not his fault. like, sorry, Ben. Like, I don't know what to tell you here, buddy, but turns out he had a perfect clone, and that's probably the guy who just stole it. And then he's forced to call Dukat and say, hey, listen, I know you just got done mogging on us when you thought the station was going to kill us and maybe things are awkward, but can you come here and hear a really interesting story?
So much to unpack. And
we don't see any of that. We just cut to them telling the story.
You're cutting all the good part out. Like, I feel like there should be the turbo lift to ops coming up, and O'Brien coming up like, Commander, I know it sounds weird, but I don't think that's Will Riker. I think there's a good argument there where Sisko lights O'Brien up and like, this is the second fucking time there has been a Enterprise dilemma on this ship, on this station, that you have not come to me and been like, hey, by the way, let me tell you about Q.
Well, he did tell him about Q. I mean,
after was a reasonable time to suggest that.
Well, he saw Vash. When he found out what was going on, he told Sisko, like, here are the flagship shenanigans I was witness to. Q sucks. Vash was at Picard's ex-girlfriend. I'm sorry, this is your problem now. He wasn't actually there for when this happened. Keep in mind. Because it was end of season 6, Deep Space TNG, when the Tom Will split happened. that meant season 6 of
Hold
TNG was
on.
happening during season 1 of Deep Space Nine. Season 7 happened during season 2, and Generations comes out during season 3.
I guess that would have maybe been a good alternate skip for us, is the conversation with Sisko with Starfleet Command, where he's like, hey, so this happened, and Starfleet like, yeah, when so yeah, Riker has an identical clone, and he fled his post, and we were debating being like, hey, the guy who is the flagship commanding or
Executive
commander
officer.
is potentially rogue, but we thought that like might violate Will Riker's HIPAA. So like there's a lot of back and forth, and ultimately we decided not to because we didn't want to make all of Starfleet second guess this guy every time he shows up. Again, because he's a flagship officer. Like that's a real conversation, I think.
Yeah.
Like,
No,
damn,
and
Thomas Riker is a huge fucking security risk. We cannot put out a APB on this guy because it is going to make everybody doubt this dude with a fucking sterling silver record.
oh, and also imagine it probably came up very early when he was started his service again, of the fact the computer could not differentiate between him and Will Riker, and he like accidentally kept getting Will Riker's command codes or something when he talks to the computer. It kept thinking it was him. He's like, wait a second, I can use this. this this is critical information. All of the security measures the Federation is unprepared to stop me from committing crimes.
All of the paper thin security measures at that.
Yeah.
I speaking of computer fuck ups, so they've got Dukat in the conference room. I don't know whose picture that is up on the screen. It is not Thomas Riker's. It is not Will Riker's. It is not even Jonathan Frakes' picture. They have some. I don't. Maybe it's a drawing of somebody, but that is not a good Riker profile picture on there. And yeah.
Then I think the one on the left is Riker. Is Riker? I'm not sure what the one on the right is. I guess
I think it's the guy from Clerks, maybe.
Yeah, not great. But they're in the ward room. Odo is explaining all of the Enterprise shenanigans. Dukat is drinking.
Yeah,
he here listens.
And again, everything you just said, like, you are directly responsible for the death of Dawkins or Dobbs or whatever we have named this guy.
Yeah.
And we've invited you back. You have almost gotten all of us killed. You got some of us killed. And you're a real fucking prick. And not only did we just let you off scot-free, we have now invited you back. And we are letting you drink during a briefing. I was not expecting to get Dukat here. And I was like, what a fucking beautiful episode. A, you got a rockin' plot. B, you got special guest star Frakes. C, you're bringing in fucking Dukat, who, again, I think the best part of Dukat, like the math of why Dukat is great, is that this guy is just Mr. False Pretenses. That whatever mood he is in at the start of an episode, he is 100% not going to be in that mood by the end. He might be hostile in the beginning and he ends up friendly. He might come in chill and he's going to end it like frazzled and pissed off. Like, this guy is going to go on a journey every time and he's taking you with it. And this time he's deciding to do it while drunk. Shout out real quick. Apparently Odo did not feel his belt, so that is not being manifested anymore.
Yes. Yeah, apparently that was actually Renee Abajeros being like, I don't like it. We're not doing the belt anymore. So
we're keeping the collar, we're ditching the belt. It's my body. I'm forming all of this out of my own molecules, and I'm telling you that I'm not spending the calories to make a belt anymore.
So Dukat makes a snarky comment of like, why are you telling me about some Federation bullshit? I don't care. And he's like, well, thing is, this guy showed up and he used Will Riker's command codes because the computer can't tell the difference between them on a genetic level. And he did steal the Defiant, and he also joined the Maquis. And now we got a problem. And so he has a escalating conversation with Sisko in the wardroom, where Sisko has to push back enough while still accepting responsibility, such that he makes it clear, like, the Federation is not going to permit the Cardassian Union to have free reign in our ongoing border drama over this. We have an obligation. We recognize our obligation. We have to help you, if necessary, destroy the Defiant, which is what Dukat ultimately pushes for because it's what he wants. It's a threat to the Cardassian Union that ship is there.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, he knows he can't afford to get the Cardassians into a war with the Federation, which they are not positioned to win because they've never been positioned to be able to win. As we'll see, the Defiant, when it starts to fight the Cardassians, is having no problem going 3v1. 3v1 does not sweat this machine, okay? That's how powerful it is. It's got quantum torpedoes.
3v1
Very first time we ever see them used in Star Trek, right here. Quantum torpedoes, just like one-shotting a Gaylor class, or I'm sorry, not a Gaylor class ship. It was one of the ships from the Obsidian Order, Keldon class ships. But still, just like bam, that's not a problem. Moving on. So he wants to take the opportunity to get rid of this threat. Sisko's got to push back to say, like, I'll come with you, then I'll help you do it. But that's the price of doing business here. Otherwise, the Federation is, it's going to have to involve itself in this as well, and it's going to lead to a war.
Real talk out of Dukat on how Central Command's going to play this out. And I
Yeah.
feel like this is good continuity Dukat. This is not a Dukat that we would have seen in the previous seasons. This is clearly a Dukat who has a keen understanding that these guys in this room have now seen behind the curtain of Cardassia, and he is not necessarily there to put on a show about, like, this is not a unified front, Dukat.
Well, Dukat has been burned and by
Right.
the very Central Command that he still serves, and it's these guys who helped bail him out of that circumstance.
I love it. This is a very important Dukat. This is a Dukat you would have never gotten in Voyager, and him saying, I'm not posturing right now. I'm telling you exactly what's going to go on. And I am actively, quickly acknowledging the stakes of what's happening here, and that the people in this room need to prevent our parent organizations from doing things that we all acknowledge as bad. And I thought
it's almost Dukat as like a character that is shaded protagonist on occasion, which is what makes him so interesting and complex. He is ultimately the antagonist of the show, but you go on such a fucking journey with him that you can't help but start to root for him at a certain point. It's because he deals with reality in a way that seems fair, right? Like, oh, he doesn't want to fight a war with the Federation, so he's just actually going to tell Sisko the fucking truth. And he's going to give him buy-in that goes beyond what he's able to give, like what should be his allies within his own government.
Yep. I do like the disclosure here that the Romulan cloak was provided to the Defiant on the condition that it is only to be used in the Gamma Quadrant.
Yes.
Which I was like, okay, so right off the bat, Sisko just instantly breaks that rule when he cloaked and snuck up on DS9, right?
You had to test it. He wanted to see if it would work,
Well, listen, he had the Romulan lady there, so that's on her, right?
Correct.
That's on Seska. The compromise here is that Sisko's going to go back to Cardassia and help them hunt down the Defiant, and if possible, try to find a way to de-escalate things. But that's not really Dukat's agenda for all the reasons that you said. They get back, he's like, check out my Central Command area. This is sweet. We can like remote desktop anywhere. This is my Command and Conquer StarCraft RTS den, and we can just move dudes all over the place. Also, this crusty bitch over here, she's not my boss, but I can't kick her out. This is our evil spy Obsidian Order observer. And more of this great relationship between Central Command, the Obsidian Order, and their antagonist.
Civilian governance, too. Like, we hear about the Depata Council for the first time, which is supposed to be the governing organization of the Cardassian Union, who are civilians and not members of the military. But the truth is that they're powerless because the military and the Obsidian Order run their own affairs. This is the detail we get, is that there's a unity to service within the Cardassian Empire, but it is not through a traditional channel of government. It's the military and the spy organization, and they're supposed to cooperate, but they act completely independent of each other, with one key restriction, is that the Obsidian Order is not supposed to have military equipment of any kind, which is a very common and very real thing in the real world when it comes to clandestine services. The CIA doesn't have an army, they don't have tanks, they don't have planes, and you don't want them to because they're the people that are operating outside of the rules. And if you allow the people who operate outside the rules to be able to wield too much force, not only would they potentially wield that force in a way that could become problematic to your government or your military intentions, but also put them in a position where, your spy organization that's good at subverting governments and doing coups and other things that disrupt government could turn that force internal upon you. So the fact that this state of affairs exists within the Cardassian Union is fascinating and is the major plot point of this episode that's going to have reverberations down the line, is that evidently that balance is shifting. We'll get to that, but there's things going on the Defiant.
And the last time we saw any of these guys was Kira kidnapped to be a Cardassian so the Obsidian Order could entrap Central Command high-ranked figures and run them out, if not kill them.
Legged Gamor, the good guy dissident.
So these are not friendly organizations at all to each other's agendas or practices. You got a good faith effort by Sisko immediately divulging that the ship had a cloak, which didn't surprise the Obsidian Order lady, but she confirms what they already knew. Gul Dukat's like, oh shit, nobody told me. That really starts othering him. And there's Sisko saying, hey, you can use a particle stream sensor band to detect this. Like, here are the keys to start taking this thing down. Let's hunt it down. And the next couple scenes play out with Dukat haughtiness and a predictable, strict adherence to established doctrine. Sisko using his plot intelligence and asymmetrical warfare to be like, this is too suspicious. He's creating a gap. Let's move stuff around. A reluctance by Dukat to follow that, and death as a result.
Yes. So Sisko clearly has a strategic mind that belies his aggressiveness, I suppose. Like, as far as all of the Star Trek captains are concerned, Sisko is absolutely the one with the most keen military mind that we ever see manifest on screen. Not to say that people aren't capable, like that Kirk or Picard or Janeway or Archer aren't capable in battle, but the only one that evidence a true, that my key competency is killing people, it's Sisko. And he sees through the shenanigans that Riker is getting up to slip past the defense perimeter before it happens.
Thomas's decision to not put Kira in the brig and instead leave her in the
crew quarters.
The crew quarters. And I know there's a brig. I watch, unless the brig hasn't been installed yet. But I see that there's a brig from the technical videos I've watched. For him to have left her out in the crew quarters, I feel like there should have been a off-the-rip recruitment effort, and I'm not putting you in the brig because I want us to be friends and I want you to realize, and it all happens on its own, but it's only after she tries to sabotage a ship and he's like, okay, well, I'm going to engage you. I'm going to bring you onto the fucking bridge because I know you're bad in a fist fight. I heard what that hooker did to you. So you can sit here and become the little voice of reason on my shoulder. Again, very interesting proposition. You're like, you know what I'm doing is just. You know that the Federation is sitting on your hands. I don't know that you've had these exact same conversations with your XO, but I'm ringing bells that you have already rung. You know this is necessary. Join me. And I think, again, there would have been a lot of room in here for Miles O'Brien to be obligated into this unwillingly, of course. But it's a fun relationship that begins to pan out of the old, grizzled, real dirt and blood under my nails terrorist and Thomas Riker, the way I'm viewing him as the good guy who saw something bad happening and did not have the shackles in place to keep him from doing something about it.
Yeah, I think the interesting dynamic at play in their dialogue is that Kira kind of puts on Riker the concept that Riker is trying to be a terrorist. And he's not actually calling himself that. It's Kira that's sort of making that connection of like, you're a Maquis now, and that means you're a terrorist, and you know that your job has to be to kill your enemy.
Mm-hmm.
You're trying to almost sort of scare him out of what he's up to right now. Of like, you're not up for this. You're a Starfleet officer trying to do Starfleet officer shit.
Mm-hmm.
And it isn't until really the end of the episode when Riker finally lowers his guard enough where he invokes Will Riker's name and kind of gives away that, like, oh, this also has to do with my ongoing damage about the fact that there's a version of me out there that has this incredible pedigree and career, and I need to demonstrate my own value in a way that will eclipse his, and I can do that by pulling off an amazing caper. and steal the ship and get to this station and find this buildup and solve this problem that no one else would be able to solve, because it's the only way for me to make the leap in the minds of everyone around me that I'm just as amazing as Will Riker, because I literally am him too. And that's really what it's about. He's a chaotic good guy. He's doing this for reasons that I think are entirely valid for his character. I'm not saying he's doing this entirely because he's a glory hound. But he was never. I don't think he ever positioned himself to say, "Oh, I'm a terrorist now." Like, no, I'm a member of the Maquis, but I'm approaching this the way I am going to choose to approach it. He thinks that Kira would be in favor because he has a simplistic view of what terrorists are like, not that he thinks that he is one.
So what's going on is there is a region of space that the Maquis have gotten intelligence on, that there is a buildup of arms and ships, and that they need to expose it because whoever's building this up has the intention of using it. It's an invasion.
The Orias system is where they're headed, which is supposed to have nothing in it.
And we have this playing out on the bridge of the Defiant as Riker is exposing these plans to Kira Nerys. And we have it playing out on Cardassia in the StarCraft Command Center as Sisko starts saying, I see what this guy is doing. He's going here. And Ducat's saying, there is nothing there. And the Obsidian Order saying, there is nothing there, and you will stay the fuck away from it, or else. And Ducat, not being a dummy, is like, well, what the fuck's going on with this? And they cannot commit resources to walling that off yet, because that would mean peeling warships away from actual priority targets. And wouldn't you know it, Riker's info is good. And as they start getting close to this thing, it becomes clear that there are ships and shit in this area of space where there should be nothing. And at this point, I have to wonder, if I'm looking into my hazy crystal ball of, I know there's going to be a Dominion War, and I know that there is Cardassian involvement, have the founders already, or, has the Dominion sent representatives to elements within the Cardassian government, namely the Obsidian Order, and been like, hey, let's work together, because these warships that the Obsidian Order is using are faster than what their spec tolerances should allow.
Correct. Quite specifically called out. Like, not only does apparently the Obsidian Order have a secret fleet of warships that they're building, they are technologically advanced in some fashion, beyond the military standard. You won't trust me. This is a question that will be solved for you before the season's even over.
Mm-hmm.
And so I love that Ducat immediately, when this gets caught out, he is actually pissed. Like, this is a major violation of the rules in the Cardassian Union, and he is now on Sisko's side of like, I'm willing to cut some deals with you because I got a bigger problem now. My biggest problem is no longer the USS Defiant. I'm willing to make a compromise on that, which squares the circle is like, how does the Defiant make it out of this intact?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, the only way that happens is if we're in a position where Ducat is incentivized.
By the way, there's a really good scene with Ducat and Sisko where they're like, hey, we're both dads. I'm missing my kid's 11th birthday. It sucks because it's going to make my kids hate you more.
Yeah.
Fuck you for dragging me into this. Like, great humanizing moment there. And it, again, this unwilling buddy cop drama that flares up here. Like, this is pre-existing. They've dragged each other out of the fire a couple times. Ducat, again, gets more and more interesting with every step because this guy stands hard for Cardassia and nobody has his back. He is left out of every big conversation. He can't trust Central Command. They've hung him out to dry. Clearly, these fucking Obsidian Order guys are a problem. Like, he's got a lot of house cleaning to do, and how humbling that he has to keep going back to fucking human adversaries as his only real allies in these, because wouldn't you know, they're the guys out for the same thing he's after, which is peace for right now.
Brother, just you wait. His journey continues to become the most interesting, fascinating experience that this show offers. You are on the right path. I can't wait to see more of what goes on with him with you, because he really is this kind of like the main character of the show. Like, I know that's like the joke, the meme of like, oh, he acted like he was the main character and suddenly everything makes sense as to why he's well, he kind of fucking is. When you boil it down to like what
who is the main character? Is it the person who gets the most camera time, or is it the character that goes on the most meaningful journey?
Yeah.
And what's ringing to me about Ducat is it really feels like a character that they are building that has to hit a breaking point and says, like in the video game, like, all right, I'm going to give up my castle of evil and now I'm going to join your party as a selectable character. And he just doesn't. And this is the guy who ultimately makes the wrong choice and goes down with the bad guy's ship.
Wait, I mean, it's odd. It's like, I can't wait for you to see what the actual answer to that question is, because it's shocking how do I put this? Sorry, I'm just trying to find the right ways to describe it without describing anything. Ducat's journey in this is the subject of million view YouTube videos on its own for a reason. You know, like, people have done character studies of Ducat, very deep character studies of who is this fucking guy, and is, you know, to what extent is he really the bad? Is he redeemable? Is he a bad guy? It's fascinating what they do. So, he
wants the sensor data off.
Yeah, he's like, I need to fucking know what's there, right? Like, I got a bigger problem now. I've got my fucking CIA, who apparently are arming themselves in contrivance of existing law. The only way I'm going to get to the fucking bottom of this is if I get some data. The Defiant has that data, so here's the deal. I'm willing to cut. I'll give you your ship back. I'll even give you all of the Maquis dudes on it back. But I get to keep Tom Riker as a prisoner because I have to have someone to hang. Cisco counter deals like, I'll take that, but you can't kill him. You've got to put him in a labor camp. And
I want those teeth, Cisco. Give me that molar.
He cops to that as a compromise. And so we wind up in a position where, again, like, the Defiant starts to cap off on some of the Cardassian vessels in front, which are the Obsidian Order vessels, and solos 3 of them very easily. But it's now going to have to fight 15, and it can't survive that. It's got 10 behind, 5 in front. Like, the game is up. There's no winning this. And that's when Ducat and Cisco call and say, all right, Tom, guess what? You kind of pulled this off. You've got something that is so important to Ducat that he's willing to basically let all of you go except for specifically you. That's a solid W for you. And Kirita's same thing. Like, you got to be kidding me, man. You've got to take that fucking deal. There's no doubter. You call him right back. You say yes.
You're still a Starfleet good guy. Don't make your crew go down. You know, show them the mercy that, you know, you can as commander in this. And that's where Riker, here's the real big failing. This is where Riker needed to be like, well, that's just it, Kira. I don't give a fuck about any of these people. I have not said one word on a personal level with any of these poorly dressed fucking paupers. They are all an ends to the mean.
Actually, so Kalita is the name of the Maquis character, who is a returning character from Preemptive Strike, the second to last episode of TNG. She was one of the Maquis in that episode. So this is her being reused. That's what I meant to say. And yes, Trisha O'Neill, who played Rachel Garrett, plays Karinas, the Obsidian Order agent, which, of course, she's in a fucking shit ton of makeup, so it was pretty easy to not see.
That's a real squander. Yeah, I can see them giving Rachel Garrett big girl Obsidian Order role here.
Yeah. But it's cool that they reused an existing Maquis character from Preemptive Strike for this episode that has Tom Riker in it.
Yeah, they're like, hey, you want to play this character again? And she's like, yeah, I would love to come back and be that Maki. Let me go pull that costume out of the trash you let me take home. Here, it looks more authentic. How nice. Kira sells him on, hey, you didn't get what you wanted, but you got enough to make a difference. Congratulations, maybe you were right after all. And I mean, she doesn't say maybe you're right, but that's what happened. Was ultimately
Right.
Thomas Riker is 100. Thomas Riker's right there with Ben Maxwell as I did the right thing and I was right.
Correct.
And I am exactly. Let Riker be fucking Section 31.
Oh, you want to talk about a memory beta that is absolutely chock full of
Pregnant.
everyone having their idea of what should have happened with Tom Riker after this. The fact that they leave this with Tom Riker going over, laying the charm down one more time, scooping up Kira. She's into it, man. Like, she ain't saying no. Lays a big one on her and then beams off to get gotten. She says, we'll get you, Tom. Don't worry. I'll find you.
If there's one thing Kieran Reese has a fetish for, it's war heroes going off to Cardassian prison camps. What was it? Liaison 2, which I want to shout out real quick. They call in this fucking kangaroo court that the Cardassians have, and he goes, Ducat, we both know that these are bullshit trials. I want you to make sure that Riker is not getting a death penalty, which everything that O'Brien and Nerys have said is a dick move by Sisko, and that he is condemning him to a fate, in fact, worse than death.
Again, I think this is a clear Ira Stephen Barrett that he decided that he didn't actually want to do this. This show had too much going on. I feel like this would have been worth returning to once or twice more, particularly as the Dominion War ramps up and you need all the tools at your disposal. But he is not only their books, there are comics. There is a RTS computer game, Deep Space Nine Dominion Wars, where you can go rescue him and use him as a commander.
Yes, which one is this?
The game is called Deep Space Nine: The Dominion Wars. It is a blink if you missed it RTS from 2001 that I think like me and my friends in high school were the only ones who played. It's very much a product of its time. Very like feels like Total Annihilation, early StarCraft kind of era RTS. And you can play as either the Federation, the Klingons, the Dominion, the Cardassians, and I think Admiral Ross.
Graphics don't look bad.
Yeah. I mean, it holds up well enough, all things considered, and it's got much like the this was at a time where Blizzard RTSs were pretty strong PC performers. They were very popular, very well selling games. So the idea is that you had the different campaigns that you could play for each faction and tell the story of what happens if they win the war. And if you play the Federation campaign, you can go and spring Tom Riker from prison and use him as a commander for one of your vessels.
Well, sign me up. I would do that mission 100%.
So, speaking of missions that are done 100%, that brings to end Defiant. What are we watching next week, sir?
Season 3, Episode 10, Fascination.
Oh, God.
We've had kind things to say about Luxana Troy.
We have.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to survive a Luxana Troy directed by Avery Brooks, though. This is...
Are we asking too much?
This is some jet fuel getting poured on a fucking dumpster fire over here. Ambassador Luxana Troy visits the station to attend the Bajoran Gratitude Festival, resulting in an outbreak of passion throughout the station as people admit their secret feelings for others.
The best way I can describe this episode is that it's an attempt for Deep Space Nine to do a Naked Now, kind of, but like not too silly, but it's just it's too silly. It's a little like Deep Space Nine has got already built up all this inertia for being relatively serious and having all these layered plots, and they want to do this sort of comedic, romantic, sitcom-y sort of romp style storytelling, because that's what they used to do occasionally on TNG. They find a better way to do this down the line, like by using the Holosuites, Vic Fontaine, and like the Trials and Tribulations episode. Like they find ways to do this better, and this is kind of like their early shot at it. It just, I don't think actually the episode's that bad. I think it's actually pretty funny. It's just kind of feels a little out of place. And awkward. It's just like if you did this in season 1 or 2, maybe it would have worked better, because it's before like the serious stuff is supposed to kick in. But I imagine everyone's going to have an opinion about this. I think this is one where I'm going to be interested to read the memory alpha of what the actors and the producers have to say about it. Which I don't know anything about, but it is. It's a tough one in some ways, but kind of fun in others, because there's a lot of character development stuff. Like it's not like purely for titillation either. It's so I don't know. I'm almost over explaining it in advance. I'll be interested to watch it and kind of get your take on it. This is one of those things where I think a lot of people would call it one of the worst episodes, and I think that people are wrong when they do that.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining us here on V'ger Please. We've been more active on YouTube lately, dropping some extra content. Did a little conversation about AI and maybe if Janeway was right all along. I think next up when we do that, we might talk ships and Starfleet vessels and kind of like dive deep on some of the nerd lore that Deep Space Nine is doing quite a good job of developing as time goes on. So if you like that and you listen to us mostly as a podcast, we certainly appreciate you downloading us wherever you get us. But check us out on YouTube. Find V'ger Please. Type it into the search bar. You'll find us right away. Like, share, subscribe, all that too, and check out the extra content we're putting on up there. And also, we do have our Patreon, www.patreon.com/V'ger Please. By the time this episode comes out, our review of Hellraiser will be available to everybody who is a Patreon subscriber. So do listen to that. We also have a review of Star Trek VI that is presently only up there as well. And some other episodes and little conversations Peter and I have had through the years, including our exclusive only to our patrons review of Tank Girl, are up there for you to enjoy. So, and if you are a new listener and you want to join the community, we are on Facebook. We have a Facebook trauma support group, but we also have a very active Discord. Typically, we love it if people would email us to get in so that we avoid bots rolling in. Well, that little extra layer of effort does wonders to keep it tame from outside sources. So email me at vgerplease@gmail.com, and I will happily send you an invite. Thanks for listening.